Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you're coming from, or wherever you're listening to, whenever you're listening to. It's so great to be back here with the Living for His Glory podcast. I'm very thankful to be back. I know I took about a month-long hiatus, a little over a month now, considering Christmas was a month ago, and I kind of stopped about a week or two before Christmas. It's been a little over a month. I'm so glad to have you back. I'm sure I'm hoping that you're glad to see me back. But either way, we're back, and it's great to be back here, and I'm ready to get into it. I'm ready to get into scripture, to preach the word, and all that good stuff. Happy New Year! This will be our first recording of 2024. Happy New Year to you. I hope that it's gone well over these first 3 weeks, and I'm excited for what 2024 will bring for us. So let's get straight into it. So I want to talk to you today about what we listen to, how we think about things, like what we absorb. And so it's a lot about, mental toughness is kind of correlated with this, with what we're talking about today. We're talking about like the wise and the foolish, some of their qualities, some of the characteristics, what they're going to talk about, how they're going to behave, um, and what they're going to say and how we should deal with that. Um, so if we're going to start off with the foolish words, in Proverbs 14:3 it says, "A fool's mouth lashes out with pride, but the lips of the wise protect them." So obviously, straight out the gate, we see this multiple different verses in Proverbs where it's talking about the foolish. They love to talk. They speak out of turn. They speak rashly or harshly or whatever it is. They're speaking just at a moment's thought. But the wise we see in the second half, the lips of the wise protect them. It's kind of like, you ever heard the phrase? It's like, you may be a fool, but nobody will know it until you speak. Like, you speak, and all of a sudden people kind of get who you are. And if you speak out of turn, if you speak rashly, if you speak misinformed, you're gonna look like the fool. You're gonna be the fool in that situation. And so what we see foolish people do, we see them, they lashing out, they're lashing out of pride. They're talking. It says in Proverbs 16, a fool is hot-headed and yet he feels secure. So he feels secure, he feels like he's right, but he's talking about hot-headed. So we're thinking about, if he's talking hot-headed, he's probably thinking of, just things to say out of the blue. And a lot of these things, it can be hurtful. A lot of these things, it's just like, it's not even coherent. It's just like, what do you say? It feels like wasted. It feels like it's trying to hurt you. You ever feel like somebody's telling you something and they're just trying to hurt you? That's something that we want to stay away from. So one of the things I've been focusing on this year is like being mentally tough with myself. So the biggest battle that we have is well, the biggest battle that we have is one, that spiritual battle against Satan. But we also have this battle with ourselves, and so it's a lot of how we deal with these foolish people, and the foolish thing that they say is like, um biggest battle you have is with yourself. So it's like, whatever these fools may say to me, like, it won't affect me or discourage me unless I allow it to. And so the biggest way that we can get over that we cannot allow it to hurt us, is having our own security, having security in ourselves and who God says that we are. That's that's how we get that mental toughness. That's how we get the ability to just, kind of toss those foolish words to the side, and how we're not going to let them affect us. Now, that's not the full story. There are certain things, it's like, okay, we got to listen. So these things that are kind of foolish, right? Like, if somebody were to come up to me and say, I don't know, like, F you, or they're going to say something negative about me. Now, it's my job to kind of decide, okay, was that something a fool would say? Was that something just said out of anger? Was that something that was said just to make me mad? Or was this guy putting genuine thought into this? Or was this guy trying to make me mad? Or is it something that needs to be addressed within myself? And so what Proverbs says about what's wise, what repeats over and over about accepting discipline. or accepting wisdom. Like accepting discipline, it says in Proverbs 3:11, my son, do not despise the Lord's discipline, the Lord's discipline, and do not resent his rebuke. And in verse 12, because the Lord disciplines those he loves as a father the son he delights in. So we see that discipline, we see that need to accept discipline. And then we also see, let me see, 2 seconds. Proverbs 12:1, whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but whoever hates correction is stupid. You see this discipline, this aspect of knowledge, right? You love the discipline so you can love the knowledge. And then we see in Proverbs 23:12, apply your heart to instruction and your ears towards knowledge. So we're supposed to get feedback. Like all this is feedback, like feedback from other people. We're very rarely going to see it like for ourselves. So what we're going to do in this situation is now we need to decipher, okay, is somebody saying something to genuinely hurt me? Or are they going to say something that's trying to instruct me, that's trying to help me? Even if they say it in a negative or an angry way, it's like, okay, how can we take out that anger or that hate and that rage and decide, okay, is this something I really need to work on? Now, people have got mad at me and said something to me and like just try to invoke a certain response. But there's also some truth in what they say, because there have been aspects where like, I make people mad and they say, "Oh, Luke, you suck. You need to do this." Okay, well, discard the "you suck," and I need to do this instead. Okay, well, now I'm being offered an alternative. Now I'm being offered a level of like, okay, is this something I should do instead? Like I now like do should I get is this something that I can work on? Is this a knowledge that I can accept, a knowledge that I can use to grow myself? So it's about like we're supposed to love that knowledge. We're supposed to constantly be getting better, constantly be learning and growing and evolving. Like that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to love the knowledge, love the discipline, love the ways that we get more knowledge, which is always going to be through some kind of tension, through some kind of humility to realize that we need to know more. Like in the Dark Ages, they had a lot of pride because they thought they knew everything. Well, we know that they didn't know everything because there's been a lot of advancements, not just in the last, and like we've seen a lot of advancements in the last 10 years, last 20 years, like 50, like especially technology wise. Like that's just in that time frame. Never mind the thousands of years, the couple, thousands of years or whatever, how long ever it's been since the Dark Ages. Like imagine how much we've learned since then. Never mind, right? So it's like obviously they knew very little, and we know that. But even now, it's like, well, what if we know very little? We only know what we know. We think we know everything until we realize, oh, I learned something new today, right? So there's always something to learn. There's always some way to grow. So we as much as we think we know, there's a likely chance that we only know very, very little. And that people 20, 30 years from now are going to be looking back at our time and thinking, what's going on here? Like they knew so little. We know way more than they did. We know way more now than they ever did. So like that's just, and it's going to work for people that came after them, right? That's just how it works. We keep learning and growing and improving and evolving. So there's always something to learn. We should always be trying to learn. We should be doing everything in our power to learn, whether you're, doing that, whether in the school system and high school, college, whatever it is, constantly learning, going to classes, or whether you're just, in your job working. Are you, reading stuff? Are you listening to stuff? Are you learning how to do your job even better than you do it now? You're just working your way up, working, on your knowledge and everything else, and not being lazy with that. And, we see in Proverbs talking about hard work, and we can get in that in a different episode. In fact, I probably will, because I love hard work. I love that concept. I love to work hard. It's one of my favorite things in the world. For now, we're just going to focus on, learning and improving and whatever. So now it's like, if you tell me this needs to change, I'm going to at least take in consideration, like, do I need to change in this regard? Or is or is they just saying that to say that? Now I can help identify with that. Okay, I can go to other people and ask them other questions about myself, right? It's hard to kind of pick ourselves apart because we don't know you know, we don't see ourselves. We don't see how we behave. We're just kind of behaving. So we can now go ask questions to other people that see how we behave, people that are closest to us, people that we trust, that we rely on, people that we're close with. We'd ask them, hey, can you see this? And if enough people, if those two, three people, whatever it is, they say yes, like you need to work on this. Okay, well now we're going to work on it. But if they say no, like they're crazy, whatever, maybe just saying out of anger. And now it's just like, all right, whatever, let it go. Or even if even if they say no, you're fine with that. Well, maybe there's a way that we can now still improve further on that aspect. So it's always this constant state of growth and improvement. I think that if we as people thought about that every single day, growth and improvement, even if we're really good at something, how can we get even better? If whatever our strongest aspect is, it's natural to work on our weaknesses, work on what we're bad at. But if we also work on our strengths, get them even better, just excelling in every aspect of life, that's one of the greatest things that you can do. And I encourage you to do it every single day. I know that's what I try to do. Just reading, growing, and improving. I made a dedication. I'm going to read 10 pages a day, and I have a way to do that. I've made a habit tracker to make sure I do these things, and I check it off if I did it, and I don't check it off if I didn't do it. So it's just an accountability thing, and so yeah, no matter what it is that we're doing, it's always important to learn and grow and improve, but also realize that not everything that's said to us is going to help with that. So not everything is good feedback. And so when it's coming to, bad feedback, or people saying things just to say things, or people, hurting you just to hurt you. And even if they do hurt you, but they didn't mean to, now you address that with them. You say, hey man, that ain't cool. Like, let's not do this. Let's work on this. Let's not whatever, help them improve maybe. But I think it's important not to let that interfere with you, not to let that interfere with, your mentality, and not to, be super, not to allow that to affect you in such a negative way that ruins the way you perceive yourself, that it lets you ruin your day. Like it's not meaningful enough to let it ruin yourself, right? Like in the end, it's like having that mental toughness. It's like, okay, I know who I am. I'm secure with who I am. I'm secure with who I'm working on. I'm secure with who I'm wanting to become. So these negative things that are said just to be said that don't have any real reason or rhyme or impact to them, I'm not going to listen to those things, because I'm secure in myself. I'm secure in God, who God says I am, and who I'm going to be, and in who God says I'm going to be, and in His plan for me. So these things, I'm not going to let them affect me. I'm not going to allow them to affect me, and I'm just going to live life the best way that I can, and learn the most that I can, and just stick to the Lord and whatever He says. Well, guys, that's all I got for you today. Thank you for tuning in once again. Thank you for coming back with me. I'm so glad to be back here with you guys, and thank you so much. And I appreciate you guys so much. Tune in Monday. So I'm going to post this now, but we're going to go back to our normal schedule on Monday. So I know it's kind of like a 3-day gap in between there, but it's the way that we're going to do it, and that's the way we're going to deal with it. And all that good stuff moving forward. So tune in on Monday morning for our next video, and I will let you know what that is, probably this weekend or the day, something like that. And we'll get to it. We'll get back on our weekly rhythm. Thank you for your patience. Thanks for coming back. Appreciate you guys. Love you, respect you, all that great stuff. May the Lord let you prosper over the next few days and for the rest of your lives. May you go out in peace, and I will see you on Monday. Thank you.